Throughout heaven and earth, I alone am the honored one. This episode of Jujutsu Kaisen covered from chapter 73 all the way up to 76, and it's literally a few pages of chapter 76 as well. And that section of the manga that was adapted was a post-credit scene. It really did feel like a movie, didn't it? With most big blockbuster superhero movies all having a post-credit scene. This episode was nothing short of a big blockbuster episode, so spoilers will be discussed in this episode, as well as spoilers from the manga in future chapters of the story, so you have been warned. For the previous episode, I talked about how Toji ended up beating Gojo, but for this episode, the roles were completely reversed. Gojo was the one who ended up being the victor and ended Toji's reign of assassination. I think what I appreciate with watching the anime is the demeanor of both these characters within the two fight series between both characters. For round one, when you read through the manga, you can see that Toji is outpacing Gojo, but you can't really tell, well, at least I couldn't tell, how calm Toji was throughout that fight. He never got emotional or carried away in that fight. He kept being cool, calm and collected, and it's that coldness that managed to beat Gojo. But in this episode, it's the reverse. Gojo had to go insane in order to reach that point emotionally where he was able to kill Toji. Now guys, just because Gojo seems like he was completely insane doesn't mean he didn't have that coldness that Toji had in the previous episode. In Season 2, Episode 17 of Code Geass, Lelouch monologues that he has to be cold and callous in order to rescue his sister, and that he has to be in this mindset throughout, otherwise his mission of rescuing his sister will fail. I felt that vibe throughout this entire episode. Gojo had to go into this state of mind in order to finally defeat Toji. Look at the post-credit scene where we see members of the Star Religious group clapping at the death of Rico. Gojo says to Geto, "Should we kill them all?" The way I feel right now, I doubt I will feel anything about it. And even during the second round of Gojo versus Toji, he apologizes to Rico, saying he doesn't feel anger or sadness for her death and that life is actually amazing. I know a lot of you anime onlys are very confused watching why is Gojo being like this? Why is he saying such cruel things that you wouldn't normally expect from a popular shonen character? I have said in my previous discussion videos with Jujutsu Kaisen that Akutami likes to have his characters go fully insane in order for them to reach that badass hype moment for that character, such as with Megumi using Chimera Shadow Garden in Season 1 for the first time. And previously, when I just read the manga, I used this very scene with Gojo versus Toji, where Gojo is acting all high just before he unleashes Hollow Purple for the first time, as another example of that. But no, that's not the case after watching this episode. And seeing the way Gojo was saying how he doesn't feel bad for Rico after she died, him making that statement that he is the honored one, as well as him saying that he will kill all the remaining members of the Star Religious group without feeling a shred of remorse about it, seemed so calm, didn't it? Even when he said that he alone is the honored one, with the piano music playing in the background, was so calm and elegant. In my head, reading through the manga, I would never have imagined that a calming piano soundtrack would be played for the second round of Gojo vs Toji. But the music is used to emphasize how calm Gojo truly is. In the first round fight, he was all flustered and frustrated that he couldn't keep up with Toji. Plus, you add how cold Toji was in the first round, which resulted in Gojo nearly dying in the first round. Gojo being the calm one in this round, whilst Toji wanting to beat the pinnacle of Jujutsu strength, clouded his judgment and made him emotional in the second round. Toji admitted that him wanting to beat Gojo, who was the strongest sorcerer in the modern age, as well as the Zenin family who cast him aside because he has no cursed energy, is the very reason why he lost. He didn't have that cool mindset here, and without it, you won't be able to beat the strong opponents. Look at chapter 132. Yuji had to go and change his mindset completely to the point where you wouldn't recognize his character in order for him to finally defeat Mahito. He said to Mahito that he will kill him no matter what. No matter how many times he will come back, he will kill him again and again. Yuji even says to Mahito that he is Mahito, meaning that he is no different from Mahito in the way that cursed spirits kill humans. Him as a Jujutsu sorcerer in reverse also kills cursed spirits. But the tone in the way Yuji said it in that chapter made it seem like he is nothing more than a killer of cursed spirits. Like he's got nothing else to live for other than to destroy cursed spirits. Sukuna did mess up Yuji mentally, so that is also a huge factor in why Yuji became like this. But look at the context. Yuji was always emotional against Mahito. Mahito knew how to push his buttons by killing Junpei, Nanami, and supposedly Nobara as well, and he tormented Yuji for that. And Yuji was understandably emotional about this, but because he was so emotional, he could never beat Mahito or even have an advantage over him. But once he became cold and callous, Mahito is the one begging for mercy and crawling pitifully as Yuji stands over him, ready to finish him off. I once always thought that in order for Jujutsu sorcerers to be on the level with the cursed spirits mentality-wise, is that they may have to have a bit of craziness in their personality to just be able to deal with the fights against them. The cursed spirits, whenever they kill humans, they have no emotion, no sympathy, no feelings towards the people they are killing. Just like how Gojo mentioned that lack of feeling for Riko and the members of the Star Religious group in this very episode. Look at the scene in season 1 where Jogo burns all the innocent people alive in the restaurant. He was just chilling, no remorse whatsoever. For the Jujutsu sorcerers to be able to deal with this evil and killing the cursed spirits, they also have to have that no remorse mentality in order to be ruthless when they kill the cursed spirits. Yuji ended up having it when he beat Mahito. Both Gojo and Toji had it, and ironically, the winner of both fights had that killer mentality when they won, as well as the cursed spirits whenever we see them commit the atrocities that they do. I've always said that Jujutsu Kaisen is a psychological thriller, and more often than not, the fights in Jujutsu Kaisen have so much meaning mentality-wise. It's more of a mental battle rather than the superpowers and cursed energy that is always involved in these fights. And whoever wins the psychological battle is usually the winner of the fight. And because Toji's inner insecurities of being a sorcerer without cursed energy and the trauma his family put him through, seeing Gojo alive and well broke him. He couldn't get over the shame, and Gojo, who had to have that killer mentality in order to not only beat Toji, but also save himself from the guilt that he failed saving Riko, is the reason why Gojo won. This episode was an absolute masterpiece, and the anime really did give me a new perspective on how the fight was portrayed. In the manga, I genuinely thought that Gojo went nuts for the second round, but the anime showed a different side to that fight that I would have never had seen. Even in the beginning of the episode, seeing the camera angle of Riko just falling to her demise was so well done. Geto, who is a calm, measured guy, you can hear it in his voice how much it hurt that he failed saving Riko. At this point in the story, Geto was still the big babyface, so this whole ordeal was a shock for him. So seeing the outcome of all of this in the anime would be amazing to see. Don't forget to subscribe to the Shaman Tribe.